All right, good morning, everybody, and good to be on with you today. Happy Tuesday to you. It's the last day of April, Tuesday, April 30th, and man, the month has just flown by. We've had some rain here the last several days, and so we're closing out April with some April showers, and so hopefully that means that we'll get some Mayflowers. I think I mentioned that yesterday, but excited about that, about summer months coming up, and hopefully you are as well. I would encourage you, if you're just now getting on, hit that share button, hit that like button, and comment throughout our video here this morning, and we'll get started here in just a second. Don't forget, we've got tomorrow night, we're going to have our Rock Fair, and so our regular Bible study and prayer time, we'll be foregoing that as we'll have our awards night for our young people, and we'll be recognizing them for all that they have accomplished throughout the year, and then that'll be followed up by the Rock Fair, and so would encourage you to be out for it, and to see and hear all that our young people have accomplished, and just meet and greet any families that may be out for that. And so I'm excited about that opportunity. Hopefully you are as well. And then tonight we'll be setting up for that at 6 o'clock. So if you'd like to come help set up all that good stuff, that'll be at 6 o'clock tonight right here at the church. All right. Daniel chapter number 6 is where we're at. And so join me over there if you would. Once again, hit that share button. We left off Daniel chapter 6 and verse number 10. Okay, so let's look back at verse number 10. The king, you remember, has issued a decree that nobody is to pray or ask anything of a god except for the king himself. And so that has been signed into law. That's been decreed by King Darius. And you might remember how that the other presidents and princes are trying to trip Daniel up. They're jealous of him. They're jealous of his position, his power, his prestige. And so they're trying to find a way in which they can get after him. And this is the only thing they found. Man, he just loves his God too much. All right, now let's look at verse number 10. Let's see, once again, Daniel's response to the entirety of the situation. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, and so this didn't catch Daniel off guard, he knew what was being planned. He knew the writing being signed, all of that. And what does he do? He went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem. He kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime. And so Daniel does what he always does. He remains faithful to the Lord. Now, that makes me think of, and I want you to go back with me just really quick and see this. Why is it that Daniel was able to remain so faithful, so true to the Lord? In Daniel chapter 1 and verse number 8, we find that Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the king's meat. Okay? Daniel, previous to this difficulty, had purposed in his heart to follow the Lord, to live for the Lord, and to do as the Lord would have him do. And because he had made that decision in the past, he made that commitment in the past, this wasn't just some fly-by-night, had a revival, made a decision, forgot. No, he purposed in his heart. This was who he was going to be. This is how he was going to live. And that when the difficult times came, he had already made the decision how he was going to do it. And man, he followed through with it. Here, even in Daniel chapter number 6, man, it's against the law for me to pray to my God, but I've already purposed in my heart that that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remain faithful to my God. And man, it's got to be like that in our Christian life as well. Listen, life gets busy. Life gets difficult. Man, we experience great times and we have tremendous opportunities, but even in the midst of the difficulties, and we can swing all the way to the other end, the opportunities, are we going to remain faithful to the Lord? It's like this, and I say this from time to time. On Sunday morning, I don't have to wake up and wonder, hey, what am I doing today? I know what I'm doing today. It doesn't matter what's coming up in my life. It doesn't matter the busyness and all of that. I know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be in the Lord's house. And because I've purposed in my heart, my wife and I have purposed in our hearts that that's where our family's going to be. And that purposing, that took place in my life long before I became a pastor, okay? Long before I knew that God had called me in the ministry, I purposed that I was going to be faithful to the Lord, and that required of me to be faithful to his house. And you know what? I wasn't going to allow anything to get in the way. I wasn't going to allow sports. I love it. Sports for my kids. I love them. I love that. But I wasn't going to allow that to get in the way. Work. I had just decided, you know what? We're going to be in church and going to make that work. And so I'll just kind of leave you with this thought. You do what is important to you. And I want to be honest with you. If church isn't important to you, you're not going to do it. Bible reading isn't important to you, you're not going to do it. Being that faithful witness testimony, not important to you, you're not going to do it. You do what's important to you. And we make excuses to do what's important so that we can do what's important to us. And so just some food for thought there. I know that might hurt a little bit, but man, we hear the song sometimes, dare to be a Daniel. Dare to be a Daniel. Dare to stand alone. Man, I dare you. Let's be a Daniel. Now let's see what God does in our life. It was kind of like this. Two of the most popular stores maybe in America today. Okay, Hobby Lobby, extremely popular, and I step in there from time to time. Wouldn't be my favorite store, but you know what? They're very successful, and I think one of the large reasons why they're successful is because they honor the Lord's day, and they purposed, hey, this is what we're going to do. Now, there's a lot of other successful stores out there, but people would think it's foolish. Why are you not open on Sunday? Well, because they value the Lord's day. I think of Chick-fil-A, one of my favorite restaurants. They're closed on Sunday, and man, it seems almost foolish for a restaurant to be closed on Sunday. But you know what? That's what they've decided, and I think God's blessed them for it. And so, you do what's important to you. What do you value most in this life? And I hope it's your relationship with the Lord. All right, let's continue. Let's look at verse number 11 here. Then these men, this is the princes and the presidents, then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. These people, they knew where Daniel would be. They knew what Daniel would be doing. Because they knew Daniel's character. They knew who he was. And so they knew that even though the situation has changed there in Babylon, the law has changed in Babylon, they knew where Daniel stood and what Daniel would be doing. And I'll just kind of give you this one more reminder here, and I'm sorry we're taking so long through this, but man, there's a lot of great application to our life in regards to this. These men, they knew where Daniel was. They knew what Daniel would be doing because of his testimony. Listen, our life situation is constantly changing, but we serve a God. Our Savior is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And man, life changes, but you know what? Our purpose in this life ought not to change. It ought to be to live for the Lord. And you know what? The law had changed. King Darius had signed this law in, and these men, they knew that regardless of whatever change there was going to be, Daniel was going to be the same. Think about it. Daniel now, this is the third king that Daniel has served under, Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar, and now King Darius. And you know what? Things have changed, and yet Daniel's remained true to himself. He's remained true to the Lord. What an encouragement there. We see change all the time in our life. We're experiencing it every day as we get older. There's change. As our family dynamics change as people get older, do we remain the same? And that is faithful to the Lord. I don't mean saying the same and becoming complacent in who we are, but the same in who we are in regards to our desire to live for Jesus Christ. And man, what a powerful truth there, verse number 11. These men knew exactly where Daniel would be because you know what? Life changes. Daniel's on his knees, and they knew it. Verse number 12. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true. And so they come and say, hey, king, didn't you do this? Yep, the thing is true. according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. And man, they're just setting the king up to have to make this tough decision. Saying, "Oh, king, didn't you make this law?" "Yes, I did." "And didn't you say that they couldn't pray?" "Yes." And isn't it true that the law of the Medes and Persians can't be altered?" "Yep, that's true." Look at verse number 13. Then answered they and said before the king, "That Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petitions 3 times a day." And so they accuse Daniel. They bring Daniel, say, "Daniel, yeah, you know who he is, man. He's from Israel. The captives, yeah. It's somehow he's worked his way to the government here. He's captive, captivity of Judah, and he doesn't want to listen to you, O king. He's prideful. He's rebellious. He's praying 3 times a day." And they come before the king and make this accusation before the king. And then let's look at verse number 14, and we'll see how far we can get here. I know we're running out of time. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself. The king realized the foolishness of this law, of the decision that he had made. He realizes the pride that he had fallen victim to, his pride. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. And so this king is deeply saddened by this decision that he has made. Remember, Daniel was well favored. The king loved Daniel. You look back at verse number 2. It says, "And over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage to them. This Daniel was preferred above the president's prince because of an excellent spirit was in him." And so the king, now realizing the foolishness of his mistake, and knowing the value of Daniel to his administration, to his government, his leadership, and now to see, oh no, what have I done? And his pride, his ego had been stroked by these presidents, these princes, and he fell to temptation here. And you know what? His sin is affecting now Daniel and others. And so we're going to kind of end it there today. But man, there's some powerful truth in those couple verses. I hope, pray for this. I hope there's some conviction today, and that there's some encouragement to change, to live for the Lord in a better way and in a greater way. Okay, we'll end with that. We'll pick up in verse number 15 tomorrow morning. Let's do this. Let's welcome our guests here. Welcome those who have commented live. And once again, hit that share button if you haven't done so. We had a good group on today. Cliff and Karen, good morning to you. Ingrid, good morning to you. Love you and have a great day. David, good morning to you. Hope you have, and to your wife as well. And hope you guys have an awesome day. Jody, good morning to you. Ruth, thank you for being on as well. Good morning. Brian and Cindy, good morning. And thank you, Luke, for that comment as well. He's living for the Lord. And that's something that we've got to maintain, our living for the Lord, and remain humble in that as well. Good comment there, Luke. Thank you for being on this morning. All right, Lord bless you all. Have a great day today. Let me remind you about one more event coming up. Be in prayer for it. It's our Faith, Family, and Culture Conference. And family's kind of stuck in the middle here in our society today. We're trapped. Not trapped, but there's that battle balancing faith and culture. And the world is trying to steal our families, steal our children, whereas the Lord is saying, hey, let's remain faithful. The Word of God is saying, hey, remain faithful. So there's a battle for our families, and we're going to be looking at that beginning Sunday. Brother Jeff Farnham will be with us, and so I would encourage you coming out for those. We'll start in Sunday school, continue our morning service, evening service, and then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Invite somebody to join you. All right, Lord bless you all. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll touch base again tomorrow morning.